Well, good evening, everyone. We're so happy to be with you tonight. Tonight is going to be an interesting conversation. I'm so excited. It's the last one of the year, and who else could I have but these beautiful family members that are on tonight that's going to talk about beyond the diagnosis. So let's get started. Welcome and greetings to everyone. You are tuned into LKM Kingdom Living, as you just seen. And my name is Leslie Montgomery, and this is Leslie's Lessons Learned. And as we get started tonight, hey, Ash, I want to thank each and every one of my guests. And they're really not guests, but I'm calling them guests. These are family members. We come from a community, and from that community, we have grown to just be able to count on one another in time of need. And this is something I had been talking about with Tiffany for over a year now. And we're finally at the point where we're making it happen. And one of the things that Leslie Lessons Learned we do is we try to do things to educate people, to encourage people, and to cause people to know that they're not the only one. And as we go through tonight, I'm going to take each one and let them introduce themselves before we get started. So let's start with the ones that's right next to me is the Team Charles. And how you guys doing tonight? Come off of mute. That might work.
Oh yeah, we acting like we new to this.
Y'all acting like newlyweds over there. Can you focus? Just
Okay.
focus.
All right, we're focused. So I'm Rick,
And I'm Tiff,
and we're Team Childs. So thank you for this opportunity. Definitely, I love the title Beyond the Diagnosis, and it's definitely major for us because it took us a minute to get to the diagnosis, and that's something we'll probably share during this process. But yeah, we're just looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you for being here. And then Miss Beautiful Nicole, how are you this evening? How are you? If you
I am doing well. Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Williams. Well, Williams West on Facebook, but Nicole West. And I am a mom of a beautiful, unique needs daughter, Mackenzie West.
Thank you so much. And all right, Miss Phyllis, Soul by Phyllis.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Phyllis Madison, and I am the mother, primary care. Let me stop. I'm the mother of John Madison Jr., who um, is a very special young man.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And Renee, how are you?
Good evening, everyone. I am doing well. I am glad to be here, a part of this conversation tonight. I love. Somebody already mentioned beyond the diagnosis is great, and I'm another one. We learned we got two different diagnoses. One as a baby, and then another one around the age of 15. So um, this is going to be a great conversation, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, and one of the things I wanted to do was start with Renee because of the diagnosis all these years. And just talking about Corey, which is my godson, and his diagnosis, how he was born, and just take us a little bit through the process before he turned. By the time he turned 17, there was something that was added to it. I guess I could say it that way. And
Well, okay, sorry.
no, no, no. No. Come off of mute. I do want to start with you because you have two parts, like you said, and I want you to just tell the people your experience and your journey. Now, let me say this before any of these gents and ladies and gentlemen come forth. They are doing amazing with their children. And I'm just so honored to have them here to see or to hear some of their experiences, to watch some of the experiences, and just hear the tales even of Nicole and her experience, and how they have fought for their children, and how they just don't let the system do what they want to do. They step in, they take over, and they tell the system what they're going to do. So I'm really excited about that, and I love it. Renee and I have been friends. Let me see, Adrian is 35, about almost 35 years. We have been friends, and I've seen the ups and downs. And yeah, I'm gonna stop talking so that you can talk, Renee.
Okay, I like to say we've been friends for 459,000 years. So for a long time. um, but as Leslie mentioned, my oldest son, who's now 20, which is crazy to me, but when he was born, he did have some medical issues the first 2 or 3 days. We were out of the hospital where he was born in Maryland, and then we were in Children's Hospital. And so his first doctor, which speaks to his journey, was a speech pathologist. He had, failure to thrive. He had like the sucking issues that the speech pathologist helped with that, like getting ways to have him that he could eat. But it was a journey. It was a medical journey. Eventually, when he was 12 months old, he was in speech therapy, and by the time he was 1.5, he was learning sign language. He was not deaf. He is hearing. However, his doctor said that they felt like he was very communicative, but he didn't have words. So I guess now today I see a lot of parents and families say that their child is nonverbal. So I didn't get that official, he's nonverbal. I just got, you need to give him language or he's going to be very frustrated. So he was given sign language, and we used PEC symbols, which were the little pictures. So I had pictures all over the house, and he could just go get the picture and say what he wanted to eat, or say if he wanted to get clothes, his clothes. I had symbols and little pictures everywhere. And then when he got into early intervention school, he was about 3 at that point, 3.5. He was using this little computer. Now it looks like an iPad. It doesn't even look, but it was this huge, heavy device that we had to carry around and type in the symbols. The voice was crazy. It sounded like, now it's definitely, I've seen people, like children in like the store and stuff, and I asked them to show me their device, and the voice is great. It's believable. It's usable. I mean, they can relate to it. But language was major for us. And then he was eventually diagnosed with 22q disorder. Some people call it a 22q QT or DiGeorge syndrome, which has to do with your 22nd chromosome. There's a little piece that's missing off of it. A lot of children, a great percentage of children who have 22q have heart defect. They've had multiple heart surgeries by the time they're 3, 4, or 5 years old. Corey did not have any heart surgery. However, up until now, he has to go to be evaluated by a heart specialist. Eventually, he got to the point where every 5 years he would go. They would have to clear him for surgeries, for whatever kind of sports, whatever he does. But thankfully, he's just had to be evaluated and get cleared. He has not had any heart. Mostly our issue was speech. And I say ours, I mean, it's his, right? But it's ours. It's the whole family. And with 22q, fast forward to high school, where his IEP was other health impairment. They used the DiGeorge syndrome, which was speech therapy. He got all the therapies, he got all the services, all the support that we needed. But once he got in high school, when they were trying to just take all of those services away, because they're like, oh, he's fine, you know, he's older, he doesn't have anything. Then I had to basically advocate for him to get another level of evaluation. So he had to get all this in-school evaluation, the psychological, everything, because it had to be more in order for them to continue to support him. So we had to do in school, we had to do what they were offering, and I had to pay out of pocket for out of school for them to also document and support what was going on with him. And that's when actually we got like the autism spectrum, you know, autism, what is it, ASD, the autism disorder diagnosis, the memory diagnosis, the speech diagnosis, all the things, the details of what we've dealt with all of his life. But these things were not included in his records. In IEP, it was the DiGeorge syndrome and all the medical things. Now they've added this piece. And I can tell you till he was out of high school, like every IEP meeting, they refused to add that report with the actual diagnosis into. Now they eventually, because you know, I've been going to IEP meetings. I'm like, I got the t-shirt, and I know y'all do too. But they did not want to add it in to his official record. And I was just like, so in the parent section, I had to disagree. I had to say, this is the report. He is diagnosed. This is his official diagnosis. This is what psychologist such and such said. And I asked for it to be added in, and they refused to add it into his. They kept him on, and I do not agree. And I had to say that in all the IEP, every time we had it. So it's in there, but you got to go to my section because they would not. And I did elevate it, escalate it, because at one point, he wasn't going to school at all, and we had to have teachers to come home, and they challenged it again. But at the end of the day, it is still other health impairment is what he is going to college with, because he is going to college in January. Woo-hoo, you know. And so I will say he can still use that IEP now to carry over into college to get more support. Thank God, like so much stuff has changed. So that's kind of like what Leslie was talking about. We started out with, you know, medical, just medical, DiGeorge syndrome, 22q. But now they're saying if you have 22q, you also have autism, which I'm just like, I don't know if that makes sense to me, but it doesn't have to make sense to me. I would just say, as a parent, you just got to search and figure out what works for you. And so that's kind of what happened. And we're older, so we didn't get to have ABA and all of that, because by the time I was trying to get it, he was like 16 years old. And it was harder for them to wrap their mind around him needing it. We do have therapy. We use different therapies. He uses, he's very like visual learner. That's why sign language was easy for him he went to a deaf school for a while. He was able to be taught by, you know, in a deaf school and use sign language. He won't use it today, but he does know how to read it. And what I was going to say is that did I mention he's an amazing kid and that he has a voice, even though that's how he, you know, started out with the struggle. But he, as they teach us how to work with them, right? We are their advocates, but they teach us what to go and advocate for them. And I feel like Corey has taught me so much about myself, about what I think, and then what he needs and what he wants and what needs to happen and how to advocate for him. And so that's it. I can go on forever, but I don't want to take over. So I think that's
yeah, and the ups and the downs and him not feeling like going to school and you're trying to get him to get up and go to school and all those things as you went along. But before I go there, I have to say today is Caden's 16th birthday. I don't know if he's around and he can hear, but hey, Caden, happy 16th birthday. Thank you, Renee, for taking time out
Of
because
course.
you was like, it's Caden's birthday. I was scared to even ask you again. Did you think he was coming on? Because I know he had his whole day planned out.
Oh
But
wait, was he supposed to come on too? Was
no,
Caden?
no,
Corey's
yeah,
not
no,
supposed
no,
to.
no, no, no.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying that Caden had his day planned out. But yes, Corey is an amazing kid. Corey now will hold a conversation kind of with you. If I ask him something, he's talking to me now, where before it was like a one word hi, bye, and he went on about his business. So just to see him blossom. And yes, Ashley, he's about to be 21 soon in March. So yeah, where have you been? But just to see the transformation, him going and working and volunteering at the Streetwise, and just see him doing things. A lot of people feel like they are when their child is like that, they have to shelter them. I was talking to the young lady that was on today. She's been working in the field about, I think, over 20 years, she said. And she was just telling me some things about how to deal with children like that and how well they can learn. I've seen it. I've seen it through uh, um, I want to call him Caden. Corey, I seen it through Cam, an amazing young man, and to say he very smart. He tried to outsmart you. That I do know, and to see him just blossom. It does my heart good, and I've never met John, but to hear Phyllis talk about him, the time she had to take him to the bank, and the bank was like, we have to have his approval. And she's like, oh, no problem, John, give him your approval for, to change some things. And just the fact that, he is now a grown man as well. And Phyllis, tell us about your journey as, now that he's grown and just living, working and doing
So,
things.
John was born at 26 weeks. He weighed a pound and a half at birth. He was so anxious to get out in the world that he didn't want to stay in until he was fully done. He had to make his grand entrance with his foot and
Wait,
say
wait, wait. You said he was a pound and a half?
he weighed a pound and a half. So John could literally fit in the palm of your hand. For me, that um, helped solidify my belief in, or my disbelief in abortion, because he was fully formed. He just, the only thing he needed to do at that point was grow the extra layer of fat, had a little more developing to do, but he was ready. And my mother named him the little warrior at birth because he fought so hard, and the doctors said that he would not survive if he made it the first 24, 48 hours. And when she went to visit him in the NICU, she said, oh no, he's fighting. He would not. He kept pulling out his leads, he kept pulling out oxygen. So he fought from his very first entrance into the world. So the blessing that I had with John is that my mother was a special ed teacher for over 35 years, and she dealt with children with an array of disabilities and diagnoses. So she taught me all the ins and outs of advocating for your child. So because I had an angel in my pocket physically, I would talk to her about each visit we would go to. I would talk to her about what they said, and she kept saying, no, don't take it, don't take it. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So John was developmentally delayed. He had a bout with RSV at a very young age. We were blessed to have one of the specialists at Thomas Jefferson University Hospital who was doing at that time, so we're talking 28 years, she was doing she started the RSV program where they did the intravenously respiratory. Tiffany, help me.
I was
Respiratory.
going to ask
um,
you, what
some
is
type
it?
of it's a respiratory virus that a lot of babies and children get, and it can be deadly. um, I don't want to call it just a severe cold, but it's a little more than that. But it weakens the immune system and so forth and so on. So we were blessed to have this doctor that started this program. She was implementing a program to give them the intravenous doses rather than just the injection. And she said, I'm putting John in it. And because she put John in it, he did get RSV, but he only stayed in the hospital a day or two and he was discharged. So fast forward to, because knowing my mother, or I shouldn't say that knowing my mother, but because of my mom, I was able to get in contact with Easter Seals and the early intervention program and a lot of other programs at an early start that helped me to be able to support him. So I carried the disbelief in my heart because I came home before John and he stayed in the hospital 4.5 months in the NICU. He would not be able to be released until he made 5 pounds. But we were blessed that he was able to come home at 4.75. So he almost made the 5-pound mark, but he didn't. But I had no understanding of prematurity. I thought, he would be doing what a 6-month-old would do, because at that point, that's just about how old he was. But no, I had the pleasure of having a newborn, so he had to learn all of those things all over. He was about 6 to 8 months delayed in doing what normal babies would do at that point. He came home on oxygen and a heart monitor. So we had to do a lot of tests because they said he had a brain bleed. But he began to thrive through much prayer. He began to thrive and do very well, and finally made it on the charts because he always stayed below. So fast forward to, I was able to get him in a really great daycare. And the therapist, occupational speech, and one other came to visit him at the daycare to give him the services. The trauma of it all did not really start until it was school age, and they told me that there was nothing wrong with him. But he would come home in tears. He would be so frustrated. And at that point, for us, John couldn't keep still if he tried. And I'll never forget one day he said, Mommy, I'm trying, but I just can't. I just can't, Mommy. I'm trying. So there I go, getting the assistance from my mother. And she talked to us. There are a lot of people that don't believe in medicine for hyperactive children because he was diagnosed with ADHD and the hyperactivity plus the developmental delay. And the part that made us decide that medicine was the way for John is that he could not keep still. He was constantly moving. My mother went to us with us to a psychological evaluation, And of course, as a mom, I was beyond mortified because John was under the chair, under the table, jumping up on the table, climbing up the therapist's back, climbing across, jumping, open the door, walk over, hello, is anybody out there? The whole time. I mean, he was just constantly moving around the room. And I was, sit down, stop it, don't do that. And my mother and the psychiatrist says, Mom, it's okay. I'm evaluating him. And I was able to relax. So I finally fought. I had to get a child advocate attorney to help pave the way to get John the help that he needed, because they did not want to give him the support that he needed in school. And I look at it now and I feel that it's so sad that you have to fight that hard. But I find that it only happens primarily in the African American community, because they feel that this is our lot in life, that this is how our children are. And I refuse to allow anyone to label us. So moving forward, I was able to get him placed in the school where the tuition was $30,000 to $40,000 a year. And we were blessed that the district had to pay for it. That was the compromise we made, along with the supportive services. John excelled his first year there by 3 grades with this amazing teacher that I will never forget her the longest day I live. And from there, we partnered together. We found different programs for John to get involved with. We found different strategies that helped him to stay calm by using, they had a dog rescue that they partnered with in the community, and they brought dogs and different animals over. And that would be their reward for remaining, earning a number of points throughout the day. And at the end of the week, if they had enough points, then they got the dog therapy for that day. And so that was a highlight for him. He was able to go to a day camp at a ranch. He learned how to muck horses. He learned how to care for pigs. He learned how to do all of that. And it helped him to become the sensitive man that he is, because you can't kill a bug around him. You can't do certain things. You have to trap all of these things and set them free. I don't believe in that. Pestilence is pestilence. Moving forward, we were blessed to be connected with teachers that wanted to see John succeed. And I'll never forget, one in his grade school said, Mrs. Madison, you just have to understand that everyone is not college material. Well, needless to say, the hair stood on the back of my neck, and I walked out and I told the principal that I did not want her teaching John, because I didn't want her to suppress his learning or stifle his abilities, and to burst the bubble, burst the dream before it could blossom into what it is. Everyone thought I was crazy, but that's okay. That's not the first time. But moving forward, we were blessed with another teacher in his high school years. He stayed in the school until he was 21. And they had just started this phenomenal program at Temple University, where they allowed the students to be mentored by other college students. They took the actual classes at the regular college level students, but they tapered the educational study according to each student's need. They got books. He learned how to walk that campus. If you take John to Temple University now, He can tell you where to go. He can tell you what to do and how to do all of that. And he did not want you when we dropped him off before we got transportation arranged. When we dropped him off, you better not get out of that car and try to walk him to the door. He would always turn around and, Mom, what are you doing? I don't need you. I know where to go. Well, John, do you want me to take you down to the next? No, I'm fine. I'm fine. And the pride that he had, when as he walked that campus, you couldn't tell him that he was not a college student, which he was. But I'm grateful for that experience because it gave him the confidence to be able to do what he does and figure out what he wanted to do. And now he's working at LA Fitness 2 days a week. He's sustaining by himself. He does not need me to help him. He self-cares. He washes his own clothes. He does different chores. Of course, you still have to remind him, but that doesn't have anything to do with a diagnosis. That's just a normal everyday, you know. And he loves socializing with his basketball friends and flag football friends that we partnered with Special Olympics. So we've been blessed to be able to have him and the connections that we have. It has been a journey. And they used to hate to see me coming to school because, they would say, oh, Mrs. Madison is coming. And I said, that's right, And he would tell me, Mom, this other parent, say, for example, Rick, Mom, you need to talk to Rick's mom because this is what they're doing and that's what they're doing. And so I became the local advocate to help any other students that John thought needed to have some help because different ones were not treating him correctly. But that's my story in a nutshell. I hope I didn't take too long, but we are very proud of him now. To talk to John now, he will engage in a conversation with you, and to listen to him talk now, you would not believe how far he's come and what his initial diagnosis was at birth. And we are so proud of him.
That each one of you have amazing stories, and it's awesome to know that there were people in your corner. Like you said, most of the time they just want to throw our children to the side and say, and not really fight and help them. But each one of you have had, I know for a shadow of a doubt, if I don't know anybody else, I know Renee every step of the way. She was in there and she was in the trenches and she was like, we're not doing that. No, she just did not accept what they were saying. And I know that for Rick and Tiff, I know, look, all of y'all, I know when the teachers see y'all coming. Phyllis said they hate to see her coming. I know with all of y'all, they hated to see y'all coming because they were not pulling any wool over your eyes. And I want to say thank you for just being the parent that you were. I tell Renee all the time, I said, my hat's off to you. I applaud you. You were an awesome mom, And, sometimes not saying that everything was right and that everything went right without a fight. I'm not saying that, but to stay in the trenches and know that your child deserves better, that your child can do more than what they want to say, diagnose your child with. So I have to come to Cam. Cam is so intelligent. Cam tried to get the wool over the wrong person's eyes, which is Rick and Tiff. And he tries his best to get around with being educatedly talking. He's already figured it out. And when he talks to them, he's like, yeah, this is what it really is supposed to be. And I just think that they have done an amazing job with him as well Cam had a birthday a couple of weeks ago. Am I right? Yeah. And he turned 16. And Tip and Rick, tell us your story.
We have to remember to come off of mic.
Yeah.
Whoa, our story. So our story started when I got pregnant. So normally when a woman gets pregnant, can y'all hear me okay?
I'm getting ready to say, I don't know if I want you to tell the story or Rick to tell the story, because when you start telling the story, we might be here all night. But go ahead.
It'll be quick. So in a nutshell, normally when a woman gets pregnant, one of the tests that they monitor is called a HCG test. And that number is supposed to double every 48 to 72 hours. So my test was not doubling. So the doctor told us to put our baby in the trash. And I say that because Rick stood flat foot and on his soapbox that day, and he told that doctor, "We don't quit, we finish." So we continued on with the pregnancy. So it's very important to always check in with God for direction and next steps. So, we did not go through and abort him. And like you said, Cameron just had a birthday on the 16th. So he is 16 years old. So had we thrown him in the trash, we would not have had such an amazing son that we have today. Cam is thriving. He is a straight A student. He's part of student government. He is about to try out for what is it?
Oh, Shark Tank.
Shark Tank. Shark Tank. He's a mentor at his school. Just an amazing child.
He's and I just want to jump back this because Tiff is explaining before the diagnosis. I got the spoon now. We'll detail y'all later on that. So this was before the diagnosis. And it reminds me of when we were in the hospital with him and we ended up getting snowed in. This was like 2000 when we had a real deep snow. We ended up staying 2 days in the hospital. So I remember this clearly, and this is way before the diagnosis, that I heard a sound, something drop in the hospital way down the hall. It was probably like a pin drop. And he was laying on Tiff's chest and he jumped. I mean, he jumped as if it was in the room with him. And I bring this up because we didn't get a diagnosis until age of 8. But at the age of 2, from 2 to 8, but before that, at the age of 2, like what Phyllis was saying about John, he was all over the place. I mean, he was Energizer Bunny. So we didn't have any inkling that there was anything going on with him other than just being a little boy. But it was at the age of 2 when we started kind of seeing things and people were kind of saying things and we were just kind of going, at it. And for me, as his father, I wasn't hearing it. And Tiff and I wasn't on the same page. And I say that because, you could have a situation where things don't happen because we're not in agreement. And from the age of 2 to the age of 8, Tiff has said it before, we were prisoners of our own home. We couldn't do a lot of things with him. And it really started, where we really saw it was when he was removed from the baby room at church. Because now, he's in where there's a lot of noise and remember what I said about the hospital? So one of his diagnoses has been his hearing, where everything seems loud to him. And because it was loud to him, it made him want to get away. But again, from the 2 to 8, we didn't know any of this. But
we didn't have the diagnosis.
We didn't have the diagnosis, but we saw the different things. So he was couldn't be in children's church. they would bring him to us because they didn't know what to do with him. I don't know how many daycares he was put out of. He couldn't go to a regular school. All of these things are going on that we didn't have an understanding of what was going on. But again, we're still trying to figure it out. And then we got people saying, you know, you should do this and you should do that. And it was just a lot of different things that we were dealing with from 2 to 8. Then we get to 8. This is where I got released because we didn't have a diagnosis. We end up going to.
Can I talk even before we get there?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Okay. What I wanted to share, I know early on, Rick was in denial that there was anything. I just saw that there was something different. So in the back of my mind, I was thinking autism. But a lot of times, if you test prior to age 8, that could be a false diagnosis. But the first diagnosis he had early was ADHD, which what I find, and I have yet to met any person. I have not ever, and I'm going to say this publicly, I'm trying to articulate it correctly, but I don't know of a Black child that has been diagnosed with autism before ADHD in the Black community, because it's looked at differently. ADHD, your child is bad. Autism, oh, Johnny or Susan think a little different. So it's interesting how the doors didn't open for services until the autism diagnosis came through, as opposed to ADHD. So I will play the game if it's going to get my child to services. So you can label my boy with autism if you want to. But all I know is the earlier you get your child into services and help, the better they can become. Any child, I don't care what level that they're on, any child can learn if they are given the chances to learn. So
Absolutely.
So what I do want to say was what looked like behavior issues was really sensory processing.
So before you go any further, I want you to give the spoon back to Rick so he can complete what he was trying to say.
Okay. All right.
You want to try to say that?
No.
Listen.
It's-
Oh, I was going to say something. Go ahead. It slipped my mind.
No, so like I said, from 2 to 8, we went through so many different challenges with him. I mean, we had to resort to a trampoline, to a harness, to, you know, he couldn't go with certain people because we just didn't know. You know, we had to let them know what they were dealing with and how to handle him. It was so many different things. So for me, the release came as his father was at the age of 8 when, and we know this was God all the way, that we end up going to Kennedy Krieger, and it's a renowned clinic for special needs. And we got an appointment to go there. And when we went there, we met with the doctor who looked like us, who also had a child that was similar to Cam. And we also met with a psychologist who looked like us. And as we were going through I'm showing you something.
As we was going through.
Yeah. So as we were going through that process, yeah. So we
Focus.
yeah.
Focus.
So you know, so we were there and they were talking to us and telling us all the different things that was going on. And that's when they told us, they gave us the diagnosis. Now I'm talking about from 2 to 8. of what we went through, not knowing, especially for me, because I kept hearing from Tip different things and people telling different things that they thought. But when I got the diagnosis that was autism, ADHD, sensory processing, now we had something to work with. We had a mission. We were on a mission. And I broke down in that office. Even as I think about it now, I feel, the same thing, because, to go through that with your child and not know what to do for your child, is so hurtful, and, it just takes so much out of you. And like I said, I broke down in that office, but I knew now what we have to do. And from that point on, it was just about getting him what he needed and making sure that whatever was said or whatever we were told, we were backing up, because Tip's in the medical field. So I know whatever she hears, she's going to find out exactly what we need to do. And it was one of the, the greatest things for me, just to know from that age what we had to do.
So before you go any further, Tiff, because I remember you saying that, but I want to read what Phyllis said too, because Phyllis is in the social worker field, right? Phyllis, am I correct? Yeah. And she said she sees many diagnoses in her field, that this is true. Read children's others diagnosed with autism as early as a year old. So it is sad that we as families have to go through, I'm saying we, people of color, have to go through differently and have to fight beyond normalcy, I might want to say, in order to get what your children need. Now, I also want y'all to talk about the supplement that has helped him. And one of the other things I want to say about Cam is a awesome artist. He's been on here, and he's had his show where he showed his art. He wants to have a TV show, if I'm not mistaken. I forgot what all Cam wanted, but he is, focused on what he wants. And like he said, it's his mom dragging her feet. He's ready to go. But I wanted to say that before Tiffany went further, because they also had him on supplements that helped the process. So you can continue, Tiff, with what you wanted to say.
Yeah, so what I wanted to say as far as the sensory processing disorder, like they children with sensory issues, they can be very sensitive to loud noises, crowds, and also bright lights. So, public schools have the bright lights, so that the oversized classrooms and the loud noises, it just was not a conducive fit for him. So Cameron probably shared this when he was 6. So I don't know if you all have seen videos over the years with children in the barber chairs, and they screaming and they causing all kind of ruckus, and in the comments everybody was like, beat his tail, beat his A, send him over here to me, and all of the things. And unless you have walked in our shoes, I promise you, y'all cannot even fathom what we have to go through. But me as a mom, seeing it from my child, and I'm seeing that child there, and I was like, he isn't doing that because he really wants to. Cameron was just able to articulate with us. He said, "Mommy, it hurts. It feels like tiny pins sticking in my hair." So when you have a child that don't want you to cut, want you to comb their hair or touch their hair, There's a reason why. And we just want them to sit still and so we can get on about our day. But it's so much deeper. It's so much deeper. So, you know, and when he said that, I was like, oh my God. I mean, because it'll take like five, like it'll be like 5 people holding him down just to get his hair cut. And I was like, oh my God, like I put him through that, you know, but prior, you know, we did not know. And many of us as parents, we don't know until we know. And when we know, that's when we can be armed, and that's when we can fully advocate for our children. And it saddens me because there's so many children out there needing an advocate. And you know, it's normally their parents. And there's not a lot of parents advocating for their children. And it's so sad. It's so sad. But yeah, so I can really relate to Phyllis' story. We had took him in for his physical, and he was all over the place. And the doctor was like, she was like, oh my God, is he like this all the time? I said, as soon as he opened his eyes. As soon as he opened his eyes up, like he was literally like an Energizer bunny. And I'm thankful for the many angels along the way, the glimpses of hope along the way. You know, I just did not want to go the medication route. I said, God, we don't know what we're dealing with. I said, please either give us a miraculous healing or whatever, or give us the steps and tell us what we need to do. And my girlfriend Sanithia, she was like, Tiffany, take him off the dyes, add B vitamins to him. And, you know, so we're doing all of that. The doctor said, get him a trampoline. He really needs to be put on medication. But I just kept hearing God in my spirit saying, there's healing in the earth, there's healing in the earth. And then that basically landed us to, you know, really focusing in on his nutrition and his diet and his gut health. And as soon as we did that, it was like literally an immediate change. All of he can sit still, he can sit and read a book, he like all of that because of the diet. And had I not seen it, we took him to a birthday party and it was like a Spider-Man thing, blue and red. He chose the red cupcake. As soon as that red dye touched his lips, touched his tongue, he turned into a Tasmanian devil. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I would not have even. I said, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And red dye was in everything. And the only way we could at the time get him to eat vegetables was to load his food with ketchup. But that's the first thing they tell you, to take them off the ketchup. So we like, well, what are we going to do? I'm telling you, Cameron really saved our life because that's why we had to focus in on our own nutrition. And, you know, so we had to make our own ketchup. You know, or making our own bread and all of the things, you like getting him off of the processed foods, getting him off of getting him off of the fast foods, and just trying to teach him how to make better decisions, because now he is out of our presence. So we can tell when he has had sugar, because he sure enough just came from his grandparents, and you know, we just coming off of Christmas, so lemonade, the cakes, all of the things. Yeah, he almost got snatched up today because of sugar.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to each and every one of the stories. I'm wondering, Phyllis said that John is still bothered by loud, sudden noises. She said they had to cut his hair until he was 16 years old. She said she used to cry when John would get his hair cut. And then she said, no shade to my husband. He looks to me for answers. that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother conversation because um, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. But, I want to say thank you to everyone that's on here. I want to take a minute and just say thank you. I want to greet you, appreciate you being here. If you have not hit that like sign, if you have not subscribed and if you have not shared, please do so. Um, we want the algorithm to get out there so that there's so many parents that are down and out because they don't know what to do. Uh, I think about even when each one of you were going through what you were going through and didn't know what to do. I'm sure there was many nights of tears. I'm sure that and the every one of these family members are believers. I want you to know that they are believers, and I, I think that when you don't have that hope, it makes it more difficult. The times that you need strength to be able to go to the Father and just sit in His presence and cry or express to Him what you're going through and allow Him to just saturate you. it you know it's a whole lot. This is more than a notion, and it's an experience I have never experienced. It's an experience I have never had. But to live and or to see the ones that I do see going through and just to see the amazing outcome, it does my heart good. I saved Nicole for last, and Mackenzie's birthday was the other day. We got a whole lot of December birthdays going on here. And I think, did she turn 16 too? How old did she turn?
15.
15. She turned
15.
We got a whole lot of teenagers in the house here today. And your situation, each situation is different, even though we're talking about beyond the diagnosis, and each one of you had to really go beyond the diagnosis. You had to go beyond what the doctors were saying. You had to go beyond what those that was helping you, working with you, were saying, and you had to tune them out and do what was the best thing for your child. And I hear about Mackenzie. I hear about how Nicole fights on her behalf, and I appreciate you taking time out to be here. And we want to hear your story.
Thank you for having me. And I can relate to each and every last one of you, especially when you're talking about Cam and his sensory, because I had to cut Mackenzie's long hair, now short, because of sensory. So it's a thing. So Mackenzie had a birthday on Christmas Eve, and she just turned 15. So fast forward, I was in the hospital when on Christmas Eve, and she was born full term. So and I had to end up having a C-section, um, and I thought everything was good, but her oxygen level was low. So after that, we went home. Everything was good. So I thought breastfeeding, everything was going. She was doing everything. And then, like a couple months down the road, she started slowing down with her feeding. And I started noticing, something's not right. So I called a pediatrician. I said, she had a rash around her neck. And I said, something's not right. I think I need to bring her in. So he said, come on in. She was 3 months. So he took a look at her and he said, he gave me this piece of paper and he said, I think I need you to take her to the emergency room, take her to Children's. So I said, okay. I did exactly what he told me to do. So I took her to Children's and showed them the letter, the emergency room. We went back to the back. I called Michael. Michael was actually there as well. And as soon as we got back to the back, she coded. And I never forget her face and her eyes when she looked at me as she was doing this. So after she coded, chaos just, the people jumped on the stretcher that she was on and they whisked her to another room, into this big, I guess you call it the OR, big room. Everyone was going all over the place. They were running from, they pushed us to the side, and I didn't even know what was going on. They were trying to save my baby's life. So I see this big shiny metal thing going down her throat. So she had to be put on a breathing tube. And from there, we were in the hospital for a month and a half. So it took them about a week to figure out what was going on with her. And it was her genetic disorder, and it's long, so I'm going to abbreviate. It's called MTHFR, and it's severe, and it causes she can't get dehydrated or low temperature, or she will have a stroke, or even worse, die. So we got her to the hospital just in time. And once like a week went past, and once a German doctor took a look at her and told her what to give her, she started coming back to life. And let's see, about a couple days after that, she came off the breathing tube, and then she had to go back on the breathing tube. So my mom, she called the prayer warriors. She had scriptures all around her little bed, and they were going in, and I was just, like, okay, what we're gonna do. So from there, they diagnosed her, she had epilepsy. She had a rare genetic disorder, which is the MTHFR, and then cerebral palsy at the time. It was called spastic something else, but then it switched to cerebral palsy. So once they started giving her the medication, she came off the breathing tube for good. And then after a month and a half, we left the hospital. But before that, the case manager, she came in and told me all these things and services that I needed to put Mackenzie in: PT, OT, physical therapy. She talked about behavior, and I was like, I don't know what all this is. So we went home, and then a few weeks later, we had to go back to the hospital, and I had to put a feeding tube in her because she didn't want to eat. So with her genetic disorder, she has to eat. So whether she gets it through her feeding tube or through her mouth, we opted to put that in. So that was another surgery that she had to have. So after that, we got her into physical therapy. This was privately. Before she started school, we was doing PT, OT, and I don't think we did speech at the time. But after that, we had, then she got into school. So now she's like kindergarten, and I'm noticing like she's supposed to get these services in school, but they were kind of slow with getting her the services. So that's why I still kept doing the outside services for speech. I'm not speech, but OT and PT. And from there, let me fast forward. Rewind about the diagnosis. The German doctor told me that Mackenzie was going to be severely handicapped. And she kept trying to get me to understand, do I know what that means? And I was like, I know what that means. But, God didn't bless me with her for her to not be able to do what you think she's not going to be able to do. So from there, I was like, all right, God, what you want me to do? You gave me this gift now. Like, it's on me. I gotta do something about it. So we were going to all the therapies. We were in school, kindergarten. She didn't have a nurse or anything with her. So, and she had a feeding tube. So I tried to advocate for her to get, to have a nurse in school, but they didn't see a need. I'm not going to say who they are. Many of you can get who they are. But they didn't think that she needed one. So I kept advocating for her. And then one day she had a big seizure in school. And there was nobody around her because the teacher had to take a kid to the bathroom. And she was at the table with another kid supposed to be having, breakfast. So she was seizing. And 8 minutes went by. And, you know, if you're having seizures, there's medicine that she's supposed to have if she's seizing longer than 5 minutes. Well, the medicine is in the nurse's office, and the nurse's office is at the opposite end of the school. So time is always of the essence when you are having seizures. So that went on, and from there, Mackenzie was doing. She was developing, and after that, because it was longer than 8 minutes, after that, she stopped talking, and she stopped doing the things that she was doing. So it's like we had to start all over again from that point. So time went on, and I said, you know what? We still doing the therapies, and I said, I can't do this by myself. I need help. So that's important. Knowing when you need help and to ask for help. So found an advocate and went and described the scenario, got an attorney involved because I needed both. And then from there, Mackenzie she was able to get a nurse to take her to school. Fast forward, we still have to fight to keep the nurse, but that was one of the services that she needed, and it needed to be on her IEP, but they didn't feel the need for her to have one. And I mean, you know, someone's making the decisions who don't come out and evaluate the kids and, you know, in their cushy little office. So I was determined. I said, you know what, just because she has these diagnoses and things that's going on with her, I was like, and she was all strictly tube fed. And I said, well, no, we're going to stop that. She doesn't know how it feels to be hungry. So let's make her hungry. And I told my doctor and the dietitian, and they were in agreement. And my mom gave her a chicken bone. And that sparked her taste for flavor. And I also got a mesh feeder, and I put bacon in it. So she loves bacon. So she would suck the juice from the bacon, and that started her like eating bacon. So daycare wise, we were going to, I believe it was the YMCA. They had nurses on staff. So, and now every daycare wouldn't take Mackenzie. So I'm living in Oxon Hill. The daycare is in Bowie. So that was my drive. And at the time I worked in Columbia. So my commute from when I left my house, when I got to my job, it was like 2 hours. It was 2 hours, and then same coming back. So the things that us mothers do and parents do to no end is just, you know. Then I found a therapy place out there. So I was doing all of the things to make sure that Mackenzie progressed. And she is walking with crutches. Now she does get transported in her wheelchair, but she does walk with crutches, and she has a walker too. And then they told me, well, we don't want to confuse her because if she walks with a walker and then uses crutches, it might confuse her. I was like, no, she needs to learn how to walk with all different types. I've been told that my expectations of her are too high. I was like, well, I had a little word for them. And I said, your expectations are lower. I said, it is because of my expectations. This is what she's doing today. So they will try to discourage you. But I said, okay, God. I said, you put me in this role, so I gotta, keep pursuing, keep advocating for my daughter. And right now she goes to a private special education school in Baltimore called Chimes. That was an out-of-district placement. Miss Phyllis, you know about all that. So we got an out-of-district placement. And she goes to Baltimore, and we live in Brandywine, and it's a 2-hour commute. And she has a nurse that takes her to school. She rides the bus with her, and she comes back with her. Recently, I had to advocate to continue the nursing because they try to take that away, like every couple of years. So My story is still continuing. Mackenzie does have sensory processing. She was diagnosed with autism at age 8. I wish she would have gotten that diagnosis earlier, um, so I could have more resources to get her into. But she is doing behavior therapy now because of the autism diagnosis, and that has helped us out tremendously because she went from nonverbal to verbal. Now it may take her a minute. Sometimes it takes her a minute to say hi. Sometimes it doesn't. But with that diagnosis, it opened up some doors. So I like to tell people, bring on the diagnosis because I'm like, what can I get with it? What can she get? What can they get? What can we do? And I'm still advocating because she is 15 and she's going to be going through the transition services. Then she's going to be an adult. So um, I'm here for the journey. I'm here for the journey. So that's about it. I mean, I have a lot of things I can say, but that'll be for another chapter.
You so much. As I said, each one of you have such a story. Phyllis is saying they think we don't understand things, and she said John developed epilepsy also. So these children, each and every one of them have had their own journey, and I want to thank each and every one of you for telling a tidbit. That's all it was, a tidbit of your story. But if you had one thing to leave the audience with, what would it be? You know, it's important that we understand that we're not alone. We probably should have, and I'm thinking about this now, had some different maybe places people could go and seek help. I didn't think about that, but we'll have to do it again. I was told that this was just the beginning of it, just before we started. But uh, if you could tell one thing that would encourage other families that feel like they have no hope, that feel like they don't have anybody to advocate for them. And Nicole, I know you have the Miracles and Grace Ministry where you help different families. Talk about that for a minute. Did I say it right?
You did. I have a Facebook page. It's called Miracles and Grace, and it's a unique needs community. And I love to help other parents and encourage other parents to find resources that will help their kiddo thrive in their community, and to know that there are other people out here we can relate, we can all learn from each other and encourage each other. And the parents, it's something that you have to do. It's like you've been called, so it's like it's on you because you're the only advocate for your child.
Yeah.
So my one thing that I
Yeah.
tell them is that it gets better.
I like that. And it does get better. What's the thing? It gets better with time. And we've heard it this evening how it gets better. They didn't even mention about Cam being in martial arts and the different things that they mentioned, the things in school. I shouldn't say they, Tiff and Rick, that he's also in martial arts. So, these children are thriving. They're thriving. Corey, he's thriving. John is thriving. He's out there working, all these and children are thriving, and it's because of the parents. It's not because of the system. It's because of the parents. And there's people out here that can help you when you think that there's no help. What would you say, Renee?
Oh, I would say you are the expert. I was told that early on when I had to sit around a table with doctors. Someone from the Senate office had came to one of our IEP meetings, and he was like 3. And there was all these specialists and people there, and it's intimidating and overwhelming. I kind of was like, who are you? Like, why are you all here? I didn't even understand the impact of an IEP, but I walked away with someone pulling me to the side, one of the teachers, and looking me in the eye and saying, you are the expert. He's with you all the time. You know his habits, you know his standing up, his sitting down, and you are the one who is going to make the decision for him. I mean, I didn't understand how important and valuable that was at the time, but as time went on, I was able to put that on fully and say, you know what, I am the expert, and I am the one that will take all of your ideas into consideration and make that final decision with the help of the Lord, of course, right? I'm not saying that, but I mean, I think there's something to ownership and confidence in who your child is and who God has equipped us to be, because a lot of choices and decisions are being made for them, and you have to have that confidence to stand up and say, we're not doing that, and you're going to do this, and I will go over your head. Or, it's not a threat. It doesn't even have to be said. It just has to. You just have to be willing to write the letter, make the phone call, fill out the paperwork. So I think you are the expert is what I would encourage all my parents to be. You are it. Like, yes, you do know, and yes, you are well equipped. And we have a team. I'm not discrediting the team. I'm just encouraging the seat of the parents. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Thank you. Phyllis. You work out there in the field as well. What would you say?
One of the most important things I would say is God knew us all from the beginning, before we were formed in our mother's wombs. And he also knew that for such a situation as this, he knew that we were going to have these children in the manner in which we had them. So he put something on the inside of us that gives us a direct link and a direct line to speaking for that child. And you may not be able to articulate it in whatever that MTFR that Nicole was talking about. You may not be able to articulate it in 14-letter words or syllables, but God put that inside of you. And don't let anyone shake you and convince you that what you see, what you feel, and what you experience is not what's best for your child. Because in the long run, you live with them, you sleep with them. Slept with mine for a long time. You're there with them day to day. So you are the expert. They may have gone to school. They may get degrees, but you are the God-given expert for your child and their situation. And don't let them tell you otherwise.
I love it. I'm Rick, and I'm Tiff, and we're Team Child.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I have 2 things.
She said one.
I know. I had two. So it's probably like the earlier part of this year, I was talking to someone, and they told me our children are here. They're here for us to learn from them. Okay, they're here. They're teaching us. We have to pay attention to them. The other thing that I would say is that what we say to our children, what we say around them, what words we use is so important. We hear special needs. We hear all these different things. But I'll say special abilities, to Cam. We'll tell him, that he's going to do great things. And it's so important for them to hear it, even if they're not paying attention to it. They need to hear the things that are positive and that will uplift them.
And if I had to add my little 2 cents, I would say Nicole hit it on the head, as far as having support. Find your people. It's hard. This is not easy. And my prayers for everyone that's listening, those that's going to catch the replay, is that God will bring people to you. God, like, you will cross paths with those beautiful gems and angels along your way to help y'all be able to get all of the help and support that you need. Rick and I, everything is like a team approach. So even with the school and the therapy, like, everybody is a team. Even at Cameron's martial art, everybody is part of his team. Everybody is helping him become a better version of himself, so that he can be all that he can be and be productive and just be kind, just all of the things. So find your team, find your community, find an advocacy group, support groups, all of that, because sometimes y'all not gonna know what to do. You're gonna want to pull your hair out. You're gonna be crying and all of the things. So get with people that are actually going through some of the same things you are going through, because there is hope. When you're in the thick of it, it doesn't feel like it, but it does get better. Just like Nicole said, it gets better. It really does. But you have to be consistent. You got to be consistent, and you are your child's biggest cheerleader. And I'm just encouraged today, just by all of the testimonies that have gone forth, and I'm encouraged. But yeah, if I had to say anything, find your community, get into a support group. They are out, they are out there.
John is a black. Phyllis said John is a black belt also, and she wants everybody to know that the Father will order your steps. I'm going to ask Rick if he would pray us out tonight, as representing the men, representing all of us. And I do again want to thank each and every one of you. Even though we were talking about beyond the diagnosis, there are people out there that their children don't have any diagnosis, but they still need a community. They still need to be encouraged, and we want you to be encouraged. And we will do this again. There's many, many, many parents out there that are dealing with this more and more today than before. I don't know, before you do, did you really talk about the what you call it, Tiff, supplement?
No, I didn't. But in a nutshell, because y'all know I can be long-winded there. In a nutshell, so we actually added Cameron, in addition to changing his diet, we added him on this activation kind of supplement, which are herbs. So we took it back to the earth and put him on herbs, and we have had some amazing results, literally night and day.
What is it called?
It's called Protandem NRF2. They have different distributors. So Rick and I are distributors for this particular product.
Yeah.
So if anyone is interested, they can reach out to us. They can send us a message through teamchilds.org, www.teamchilds.org, and you can reach us there.
Renee, I see you smiling. You wanted to say something?
Well, two things. Well, okay, one thing. Rick and Tiff also were my first introduction into a, what did you call it? Supplement? Maybe I don't want to need
The activation.
Yeah, we use the probiotic
Yeah.
and the pill. And so what I can say is, I saw, I was like, me and my sister was like, wait, who was that just walked in here? I mean, literally, he was able to come in. He came into the room. He came out of his room, which he spends a lot of time. He was engaging. His face he was connected. And I saw a difference. I mean, our challenge is what I've seen people do now on social media where it's powdered. It doesn't change color. It goes in. I needed something like that because just like not being able to be consistent, taking that supplement was a challenge, even though he even noticed there was a positive result. Still being able to get over that whole pill and chewing it, that was it's a different challenge. But I will say supplements, I agree, a supplement is very good, especially if you can find the right one. And Tiff and Rick actually gave me a lot of knowledge about that. So
yeah, and it's www.teamchilds.org. It's not com, but also
I put it in there wrong.
but what I wanted to share as far as Renee, because Cameron couldn't swallow properly, so we were we just crushed it up and gave it to him with applesauce. Yeah.
And so
yeah,
what'd you say it was again?
sorry.
.net.org.
Yes, www.teamchilds.org.
You was gonna say something, Renee?
No, just yes. I think I was just going to say, you find something that will work, and then you have to now figure out how to get it into them. Becomes a whole nother
Right.
challenge.
Y'all gotta do what works best for your
Right.
household, because
Right.
it's a challenge. You really have to customize this to make it best
Right.
fit for you and your family.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm. So it's the food change, supplements, or we're not saying it's a cure, but it helps. It helps. All right, Rick, we turn it over to you.
Okay.
Phyllis wanted to say something.
Oh, yes.
Phyllis?
No, I just wanted to ask Nicole the name of your Facebook group because I was trying to find it.
I had the same problem. I did put it in there.
Yes, you put it, it's Miracles, the
Miracle.
and and Grace.
Okay.
And it's a cartoon, a character of Mackenzie.
Okay.
I was looking for it while y'all was talking and still didn't get it.
Miracles and Grace.
Yes. And Grace is her middle name.
Oh,
And Miracles, that's what she is.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. I love it.
That's what all our kiddos are, miracles.
Oh, most definitely.
Yes, they are.
Thank you.
You found it, Phyllis?
No,
Oh, okay. She's gonna send it to us.
I didn't want to hold the group up.
Yeah. Look, I've been looking for it. All right. Thank you guys. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry.
She can add it later in the
Yeah.
comments. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. All right, Rick.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you again. We call you Aniel, but Leslie K. Montgomery for this platform. So, Father, we just thank you for this opportunity for each parent here to come and share, their testimony, share the victory that has come from them showing up for their child. We know and understand, Father, that we have been given a charge to uplift our child with the means that we need to. And even as the world tries to tell us how to raise our children, how to help our children, we know and understand because we're there with them. We fight with them each and every day. We feed them each and every day. We clothe them each and every day. And we know what is going on with them. So it doesn't matter how many meetings, how many rooms we sit in, how many, doctors and teachers with all these syllables at the end of their name that's telling us how to take care of our children, how to not allow certain things that we need for them, the services that are required and needed for them. So we just thank you for each individual here, that they continue to move forward. We know this is, again, just the beginning, because there's so much more to share. There's so many more testimonies to be brought forward. And never let the world, let me say that again, never let the world tell you that you can't share what you've been sharing. No one wants to hear it. But there's always one person that needs to hear it, that's waiting for your testimony, that's going through what they're going through. But there's always someone there that has gone through it also. And we just thank you, Father, for the opportunity to strengthen us, to give us what we need each and every day. And we just thank you again for Leslie's lessons learned. And we look forward for the opportunity again to be able to share our testimony. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. So Dana, she has been working in this field for 20 years. And she told me to make sure I let you know, do not be afraid to raise your child. And she said, do not think that your child cannot do anything because of the diagnosis. Your child can go beyond what the diagnosis is. So I needed to make sure that I said that. She said, do not be afraid to raise your child. So until we meet again, I want to say have an amazing rest of the week. Happy New Year, which will be a week. It's not even a week now, but on next Thursday, we'll be going into 2026, and I hope that you have an amazing year. Don't go into the year saying it's just another year. Remember, it's a new year. It's new beginnings, and there's some things that the Father has in store for you that he wants to see come to pass. So keep your head up, keep going, and until we see you again, have a good night. We love you.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, good night.